I found a silver tube of women's lubricant hidden in my husband's gym bag. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. Instead, I quietly replaced it with superglue. The night he went to meet his mistress. Trust me, you don't want to miss how this story ends. It's the kind of revenge you'll never forget. If you've ever been lied to, betrayed, or underestimated, then you know the fire that comes with revenge. Hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment, because today, justice isn't just served. It's glued on tight. Now, let's dive in. Wednesdays always feel strange to me. They're stuck in the middle of the week, not the busy start of Monday, and not the relief of Friday. They carry a kind of restless energy. That Wednesday night, I felt something was wrong in my marriage, even before I had proof. Adrian, my husband, was in the shower. That doesn't sound suspicious, does it? But Adrian wasn't the type to shower twice a day. He believed one shower was enough, unless he had a big event. Yet, there he was, washing up again at night after already showering in the morning. I sat on our bed pretending to scroll through my phone, but my ears were locked on the sound of the running water. Something didn't sit right with me. Then I noticed his gym bag in the corner. It was half open, clothes spilling out. That was strange too. Adrian was always neat, almost too neat. He folded everything, zipped every bag, lined his shoes in a perfect row. For him to leave a bag messy, it was like seeing a stranger's bag, not his. I told myself I'd clean it up for him. That's what I always did. Take care of the little things so he wouldn't complain later. But when I reached inside, I found something that froze me in place. It was a silver tube, shiny and smooth, with Japanese writing on it. Not the kind of cheap plastic bottles we usually had at home. This looked expensive, like something from a fancy shop. My stomach tightened. I held it in my hand, turning it over, my fingers suddenly cold. I didn't know what it was, so I grabbed my phone and opened a translation app. The words appeared on my screen. Premium men's lubricant, long-lasting formula. I almost dropped it. It wasn't even full. Half of it was already used. My heart started racing. Adrian and I had never bought anything like this together. When we used lubricant, it was always the cheap kind from the local pharmacy. Nothing fancy, nothing imported. So why did he have this? And why was it hidden in his gym bag? I tried to calm myself with excuses. Maybe it was a joke gift from a friend. Maybe he bought it for us but forgot to mention it. Maybe... But deep down, I knew. I already knew. I shoved it back in the bag quickly, just as the shower turned off. My whole body went stiff. I ran back to the bed, phone in hand, pretending to scroll. Adrian walked out with a towel around his waist, humming to himself like it was just another night. Long day, he muttered as he grabbed his pajamas. His eyes didn't even meet mine. I mumbled something back. I don't even remember what. My heart was pounding so loud I was afraid he'd hear it. Later, when he fell asleep beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the silver tube burning in my mind. By morning, my suspicion grew into something darker. I started noticing everything Adrian did. The way his phone buzzed and he smiled faintly, quickly turning the screen away. The way he made excuses for working late. Little things I had ignored before now screamed at me. Then he made a mistake. He left his tablet charging on the desk. Adrian never left his devices lying around. He always locked them, always turned the screens face down. But that morning, he left it open, careless. I shouldn't have touched it, but I did. The home screen looked normal. Emails, apps, the calendar. Then I noticed a folder named Groceries. I almost laughed out loud. Adrian never grocery shopped. The man got lost trying to find bread in the store. A groceries folder was a joke. I opened. Inside was only one app, a chat app. My hands shook as I tapped it. At the top of the screen was a name, Clara. My stomach dropped. I clicked, and the messages spilled out like poison. Got us the usual sweet Friday. Can't wait to see you again. Bring the silver one. You know what it does to me. Your wife must be clueless. She'll never suspect. Then came the photos. Clara in lingerie, Clara in hotel beds, Clara blowing kisses at the camera, and Adrian, my husband, smiling beside her, eyes glowing in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in years. I scrolled further, unable to stop. Weeks of messages, jokes, plans, love notes, an entire life he was living with her while I sat at home thinking he was just tired from work. The sound of the shower upstairs cut through my shock. Adrian was humming again, happy, relaxed, like a man without a single secret. I put the tablet down carefully, as if it might explode. My hands didn't shake anymore. They were steady, cold. After I saw the messages on Adrian's tablet, my world split in two. On the outside, I still looked like the same wife, cooking dinner, folding laundry, smiling politely when he spoke. But inside, something new was growing in me, something cold. I stopped looking at him the same way. Every time he smiled at his phone, I imagined Clara's name glowing on the screen. Every time he came home late, I pictured her in some hotel bed laughing with him, thinking I was too stupid to notice. I didn't cry anymore. I didn't even ask questions. I just watched. And then I started to plan. The first thing I did was pay closer attention to his routine. Adrian thought he was clever with his excuses. Late meeting, urgent work call, traffic, always the same lines. He had no idea I was writing them down, matching them against his calendar, listening for the little changes in his voice. One night, I caught him sneaking cologne into his work bag. Another night, I noticed his shirt was freshly ironed, even though he told me he was just grabbing drinks with the guys. It wasn't hard to connect the dots. The lies weren't even good ones. They were lazy. He believed I was too loyal, too blind, too trusting to notice. He forgot who I was. I waited until the right night to follow him. It was almost midnight when I heard him moving. The mattress creaked as he slipped out of bed, careful not to wake me. He thought I was asleep. But my eyes were wide open, my breath steady, pretending. I heard the front door click shut. I counted slowly to 300, giving him time to drive off. Then I threw on a robe, tied it tight, and grabbed my keys. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might break through my chest, but my steps were steady. I followed his car across the city, headlights low, keeping my distance. Every red light felt like a test. I couldn't let him see me, couldn't let him know. He finally pulled into the parking lot of a downtown hotel. A nice one. Not the kind of place you go for business. From my car across the street, I watched him step out, adjusting his shirt, running a hand through his hair. He looked excited, alive. He hadn't looked like that with me in years. And then she appeared. Clara. She walked out of the lobby doors, high heels clicking, a smile spreading across her face the second she saw him. He wrapped his arms around her like she was the only person in the world. They kissed like teenagers sneaking around behind their parents' backs. My stomach turned, but I didn't cry. I just stared, memorizing every detail. They walked inside together, laughing, hand in hand. They thought they were safe. They thought I was home in bed, clueless. But I was right there. I didn't go into the hotel. I didn't need to. I already had everything I needed. Because earlier that day, I had prepared. The silver tube of lubricant, the one that Clara had begged him to bring in her messages, wasn't the same anymore. I had emptied it, carefully, nervously, in our kitchen. Then I had filled it again. Not with what they expected, but with something much stronger. Industrial strength superglue. It sat in his bag, waiting. I could almost picture it now inside that hotel room. At first the laughter, the giggles, the whispers, then the shift. Clara's giggle turning into confusion. Adrian's voice growing sharp, panicked. The two of them realizing something was terribly wrong. I stood in the hallway outside their suite, my ear close to the door, listening. At first it was soft laughter, little gasps, the sounds of people enjoying their dirty secret. But then Clara's voice rose, shakily. What's happening? Why won't it come off? Adrian cursed under his breath. It's stuck. It's not moving. Her voice broke into a scream. Oh my God, we can't separate. I bit my lips so hard, I almost drew blood, stopping myself from laughing out loud. They scrambled inside, banging, pacing, trying everything. I heard the panic rising in both of their voices, the fear, the humiliation. Adrian's voice cracked as he muttered, "It's the silver one, the same tube, we've used it before." They tried soap, water, lotion. Their voices grew more frantic with every minute. Finally, Clara screamed, "Call someone! Call 911!" There was a pause. Then I heard the sound I had been waiting for. Adrian's trembling voice on the phone. "Hello? Yes, we need an ambulance. It's, hard to explain. We're, stuck together. Yes, stuck." I covered my mouth with my hand, shaking, not from fear, but from the effort of holding in my laughter. That was enough for me. I slipped quietly back down the hotel hallway, into the elevator, and out into the cool night air. The city lights sparkled above me, the sounds of traffic filling the streets. I walked back to my car slowly, calmly, as though I had just finished a late-night errand. My heart was racing, but in the best way. For the first time since I had found the silver tube, I felt powerful. I didn't just know his secret, I controlled it. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table sipping coffee when Adrian finally stumbled through the door. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair was a mess, his face was pale, and he walked with a strange stiffness, his steps awkward. "Rough night?" I asked sweetly, hiding the smile tugging at my lips. He froze, his eyes flicking to me, searching my face. "Work emergency," he muttered quickly. "All night. I'm exhausted." I tilted my head. "Is that why you're walking funny?" His mouth opened, then closed. He looked away. After the hotel incident, everything between Adrian and I changed, at least for me. For him, life went on almost the same. He still kissed me goodbye in the mornings, still came home late with the same weak excuses, still smiled at his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. He thought I was clueless. But for me, something had shifted. I didn't see my husband anymore. I saw a liar, a cheater, a man I was already planning to destroy piece by piece. And the best part? He had no idea. I became an actress in my own home. I smiled when he spoke. I asked about his day. I cooked his favorite meals. I even touched his arm gently, pretending I still cared. On the outside, I was the same wife I had always been, but on the inside, I was watching, recording, planning. I bought a second phone under a fake name. On it, I kept everything. Screenshots of his messages, photos of him meeting Clara, hotel receipts, times, and dates. I even synced his tablet secretly, so every new message he sent to her appeared on my screen too. Every "I miss you" he sent to her, I saved. Every selfie of him in a hotel mirror, I saved. Every time she texted, "Your wife must be clueless," I smiled and added it to the folder. I wasn't clueless. I was building a case. After 2 weeks, I had enough evidence to ruin both of them. That's when I set my first trap. I copied everything onto USB drives and mailed them anonymously. One to Adrian's boss, one to Clara's husband, and a few more to our closest friends. I didn't include a note. I didn't need to. The photos and messages spoke for themselves. The fallout was almost immediate. Adrian's boss called him in for a serious conversation. Clara's husband threw her out of the house. Our friends stopped calling, their smiles colder when they saw Adrian at gatherings. He came home angry, confused, complaining that people were turning on him for no reason. I sat at the dinner table, nodding sympathetically, hiding my smirk behind my glass of wine. He had no idea it was me. But I wasn't finished. Humiliation was good. But I wanted him to feel the kind of pain that burns, the kind you can't hide. That Friday, I cooked his favorite dinner, pasta loaded with cheese, rich and heavy, exactly the way he liked it. But this time, I added a secret ingredient: ghost pepper oil, Carolina Reaper powder, the hottest chili concentrate I could find. Just a few drops would have been enough, but I poured in more until the smell alone made my eyes water. When I set the plate in front of him, he grinned. "My favorite. You really know how to spoil me." I sat across from him, calm, waiting. The first bite made him pause, but he forced a smile. Spicy! But you know me, I can handle anything. The second bite turned his face red. Sweat began to bead on his forehead. He gulped water, but it only made the heat worse. By the third bite, his eyes were watering, his breathing heavy. "You okay?" I asked sweetly. He nodded, trying to act tough, shoving another forkful into his mouth. His pride wouldn't let him stop. That's when I slid a glass of milk across the table. "Here, this'll help." What he didn't know was that I had laced the milk with laxatives, strong ones. He drank it down in desperate gulps, wiping his mouth, groaning. Within minutes, he was doubled over, clutching his stomach. His face turned pale, sweat dripping down his temples. He barely made it to the bathroom before the sounds began. Loud, miserable, uncontrollable. I leaned back in my chair, twirling pasta on my fork, eating calmly, while the man who betrayed me cried out from behind the bathroom door. The rest of the night, he was trapped in there, running back and forth, too weak to even argue. His special night with Clara was ruined before it could even begin. I slept soundly, my smile hidden in the dark. But humiliation wasn't enough. I wanted Adrian broken, not just embarrassed, not just sick, broken. That's when I went back to his tablet. I had already used it to catch his affair, but this time I went deeper. I searched through his files, his emails, his banking apps. At first, I thought I wouldn't find much, but then I discovered something worse than I expected. Adrian wasn't just cheating on me, he was stealing. He had been moving money into secret accounts, hiding income, using company funds for his weekends with Clara, hotel bills, dinners, trips, all charged to business cards that weren't supposed to be personal. I felt a new kind of anger. He wasn't just betraying me as a wife, he was betraying our family, our daughter, our future. I spent hours collecting the evidence, saving every screenshot, every transfer, every receipt. I organized it all neatly, like a lawyer preparing for court. By the time I was done, I had enough to ruin him financially and legally. And the best part? He still kissed me on the cheek every morning, still called me honey, still thought I was the same woman I had always been. He had no idea that the woman smiling at him across the dinner table was the same woman quietly pulling every brick out from under his life. Sometimes I caught my reflection in the mirror and almost didn't recognize myself. I wasn't the naive wife anymore. I wasn't the woman who believed every excuse. I was something else now. And strangely, it felt good. It felt powerful. Adrian thought he was in control, juggling his lies, his mistress, his money. But I was the one in control. I had the secrets, the evidence, the plan. He just didn't know it yet. The pasta trick and the bathroom humiliation were satisfying, but they were only the beginning. Adrian had built his whole identity around power, his job, his money, his reputation. He thought those things made him untouchable. If I really wanted to break him, I knew I had to take all of it away. And thanks to his tablet, I had the tools to do it. Late at night, while he slept snoring beside me, I stayed awake, scrolling through his accounts. The deeper I went, the uglier it got. He wasn't just spending money on Clara. He was stealing, misusing company funds. He had secret bank accounts with thousands tucked away. He transferred money between them in little amounts, probably thinking nobody would notice. But I noticed. Every hotel stay, every business dinner, every fake travel claim, I saved them all. I built a folder so clean, so detailed, but even the best lawyer couldn't argue with it. At first, I was shaking with anger, my fingers tight on the tablet. But then a different feeling grew in me. Calm, control, power. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about survival, about protecting myself and my daughter. Because while Adrian was out there living his double life, I was the one who had to think about the future. So I started moving quietly. I found a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, one who specialized in divorce and asset protection. I told him everything, showed him the evidence. We worked step by step, slowly moving key assets into my name. The house, the savings accounts, investments. Piece by piece, I was securing everything for myself and our daughter, leaving Adrian's accounts exposed and vulnerable. And all the while, Adrian didn't have a clue. He still came home late with lipstick faintly smeared on his collar. He still gave me weak excuses about meetings and deadlines. He still thought he was the smart one. He didn't see the net tightening around him. The first sign of trouble came when his company launched an internal audit. I watched him at the dinner table scrolling through emails on his phone, his face growing pale. He muttered curses under his breath, shoving the phone into his pocket. "What's wrong?" I asked, playing the supportive wife. "Nothing," he snapped. "Just office politics." I nodded sweetly and passed him the salad bowl, hiding my smile. He didn't know that I was the one who tipped them off. Within weeks, the walls started to close in. His accounts were frozen, his boss questioned him daily, his coworkers whispered when he passed their desks. The confidence he once wore like a crown started to crack. At home, he became restless. He paced the living room, ran his hands through his hair, snapped at me over little things. He drank more, he slept less. But I stayed calm. I was patient. I acted like the same loyal wife, nodding, comforting, pretending. Inside, I was watching him crumble. One night, he came home late, his tie loose, his eyes bloodshot. He dropped onto the couch with a heavy sigh, staring at the ceiling. Everything I've worked for. It's slipping away. They think I'm stealing. They don't trust me anymore. I sat beside him, gently placing a hand on his arm. That sounds awful, I whispered. But I believe in you. He looked at me, guilt flickering across his face for just a moment. Then he looked away. I almost laughed. He didn't know that I was the reason his empire was collapsing. He didn't know that while he was busy betraying me, I was busy destroying him from the inside out. The lawyer and I prepared everything quietly. Divorce papers, custody agreements, financial records. My case was airtight. I kept imagining the moment it would all come crashing down on him, the look on his face when he realized he had nothing left. No job, no money, no reputation, and no wife to stand by him. Sometimes I wondered if I was going too far. But then I'd remember Clara's texts. Your wife must be clueless. The photos of Adrian in hotel rooms, smiling like a man who had everything he wanted. The silver tube he kept hidden, proof of the nights he spent with her instead of me. And the guilt would vanish. He deserved every piece of this. The night before I planned to confront him, I stood in the kitchen, staring at the divorce papers, neatly stacked on the counter. My hands rested on them, steady, certain. This was it. For months, I had been playing the role of the loyal wife, smiling, cooking, pretending. But tomorrow, the curtain would fall, and Adrian would finally see who I really was. Not the blind, naive wife he thought he could lie to, but the woman who had been quietly, carefully taking everything from him. The morning of the confrontation, the house felt different. It was quiet, but not peaceful. More like the stillness before a storm. Adrian was in the shower, humming, getting ready for another busy day at work. He thought it was just another normal morning. He didn't know his life was about to fall apart. I stood in the kitchen, the divorce papers neatly stacked on the counter, my evidence folder beside them, photos, screenshots, bank records. Everything he had tried to hide, sitting in plain sight, waiting for him. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I was ready. When he came down, his tie freshly knotted, his hair damp, he stopped in his tracks. His eyes landed on the papers. "What's this?" he asked, frowning. I looked him straight in the eye. The end. He laughed nervously. "What are you talking about?" I pushed the folder toward him. "Go ahead. Take a look. Every lie, every text, every hotel bill, every dollar you stole. It's all there." He flipped through the pages, his face a draining of color. His hands trembled as he saw photos of himself with Clara, screenshots of his messages, copies of financial transfers he thought nobody knew about. "Naomi," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I can explain." I cut him off. "Don't. I don't want your excuses. I don't want your lies. I want you gone." For the first time, I saw him break. The man who once walked around like he owned the world, the man who smirked at his phone when he thought I wasn't looking, the man who believed I was clueless, was now standing in front of me, pale and shaking. Please, he begged. "We can fix this. I'll end it with her. I'll change." I stared at him coldly. "You already ended it. I made sure of that. She's gone. Your job is gone. Your reputation is gone. And soon your money will be gone too." His eyes widened. "What do you mean?" I leaned closer, my voice low and sharp. "While you were busy lying, I was busy protecting myself and our daughter. The house, the accounts, the assets, they're in my name now. You have nothing left to take. He stumbled back, shaking his head in disbelief. No, you wouldn't do that. I smiled. A calm, satisfied smile. I already did. The rest happened quickly. He tried to fight the divorce, but the evidence was too strong. The judge barely needed an hour to rule in my favor. Custody of our daughter was granted fully to me. His financial crimes came to light, and the company he worked for fired him on the spot. Clara had already abandoned him, running back to her family after her husband exposed her. His friends stopped answering his calls. His name became a whisper, a warning, a disgrace. Adrian had nothing. And I had everything. The day the divorce was finalized, I walked out of the courthouse with the papers in my hand, the sun warm on my face. I should have felt broken, angry, bitter. But I didn't. I felt free. I looked at my daughter, who was waiting with my sister on the courthouse steps, her little hand waving excitedly when she saw me. That was all that mattered. Her smile, her future, our peace. Adrian had chosen destruction. I had chosen survival. And I won. If that revenge made you smile even a little, don't leave without hitting subscribe, liking this video, and sharing it with someone who believes cheaters always get what's coming. Justice tastes better when we experience it together.